Yo. Hey, can you guys hear me okay? All right. Sweet. How's the mic level? Is it okay? Is the mic level okay? How about the bass? Can't hear the bass? One sec. Sounds acoustic. Okay. How about now? Okay. One sec. Just through the mic, huh? Just strings, huh? How about that? Same, huh? You can hear the mic okay, just not the guitar. How about that? levels? Is it loud? Is it quiet? Need some more? Okay, what's happening? All right. Oh, thank you guys for showing up. This is awesome. I'm excited to get into your let's see what you got here. Justice Gash, awesome man. Thank you. Gutter Nerd, Monstrosity, Robbie, Goats Run South. How you doing, man? Who else we got? Neo, how you doing? Says IIM. Thank you. Thank you for showing up, man. Raven. Dude. Awesome. All right. Okay, I think we're ready to go. So, just gonna grab my notes here, just so I don't forget anything that I wanted to get through here. So cool, yeah. Welcome to the live stream. We're gonna be going over kind of an intro to scales, and something that I learned. Somebody showed me. I forget. Maybe a YouTube video or a teacher or something. But the single string technique, and once I started doing this, it just everything all of a sudden made sense. I'd practiced scales, just countless hours, just mindlessly, going through all the patterns and learning all that, and it was. I mean, it was fine. I built up my technique, but I didn't really understand why or really what the point of just running through all these scales was. So it wasn't until this single string kind of technique. It's super simple, but usually it's the simple things that get the job done. So, these are. So hopefully, going through this, it'll make scales a little more simple and much more approachable, and hopefully clear some things up for you. Because man, I remember just even when I was going to music school, still just being like confused about intervals and note names and all this stuff, and how it just kind of tied together. And and then reading Guitar World and buying every guitar guitar tab book on the planet, and just running through scales and modes, and it was just overwhelming, all the information, and just after practicing and practicing and practicing, it kind of I don't know, you lose your confidence after a while, like, man, am I just not getting this? Is this beyond me? Or and I've spoke with a lot of people and a lot of my students, and they all kind of feel the same way. Like, there's something that I'm just unable to get, unable to comprehend. But it's not. It's anybody can do this. It's just it's how the information is presented, is just over everyone's head, especially especially beginners. So hopefully we can clear that up a little bit today. So the single string is, basically exactly how it sounds. We're gonna learn the minor scale, all happening on one string. So we're gonna start with the open E, and this what we're gonna learn today. It doesn't matter which tuning you're in. I just happen to be in standard tuning on this bass, so it's open E. But what we're going to learn is basically the formula for a major scale. And once you know this formula, you can basically start with any note and figure out the rest of the key or the rest of the scale. So let's start with the open E. And the next note in the formula is one whole step above the first note, which is it's the root note, and the $5 word is the tonic, but it's the root. Basically, the root note is the note that it's kind of the home note. It's what basically every other note in the scale, it's where it wants to return to. So let me know if you guys can see this. I have here, I'll put it on this side. So a great way to illustrate these whole steps, half steps, and an easy way to understand how to use that formula is to check out a keyboard on a piano. So the keyboard, if you look on all the way on the far left, we have the note C. So from the note C, and if we go to the next white key, that's the note D. So that distance is a whole step, because there is a black key in the middle. So if we go from C up to the black key, which is a C sharp or D flat, and if we start there, here we go. The black key would be up one fret, or this is called one step, or in for our European friends, a semitone. So if we go back to the note C and we go to the note D, this is 2 frets. So we skip, we're on the 3rd fret, we skip the 4th fret and go directly to the 5th fret. This distance is what we call a whole step, or a tone. So the first note, going back to the minor scale and the formula, is a whole step. And so now we know that a whole step is 2 frets. So if we start on the open E, if we went to the 1st fret, that's 1 fret. We got to go to the 2nd fret to get our whole step. Okay? The next note in the scale is up a half step from the last note. So if we're here and we go up a half step, that's going to be 3rd fret. So far we have 3 notes. So we have a whole step from open to 2, then a half step from 2 to 3. Okay? If we keep moving up the formula, the fourth note is a whole step from the third note. So it's from here. The whole step is 2 frets. From there, we have another whole step. From here, another half step, which is 1 fret. So far, open, 2, 3. Then we have 5, 6, 7. Or sorry, 5, 7, 8. From there, we go up another whole step. That's going to take us to the 10th fret. From the 10th fret, we go up another whole step, so 2 frets up to the 12th. And the 12th is the same as open. So we start at the root and we end at the root. And that is all there is to a minor scale. It's the formula. You start with the root, you go a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step. Okay? This works the same going backwards, descending the scale. Then you just reverse the formula. Let's get this piano out of the way. So we got if we go in reverse order, start at the root, whole step down, another whole step, so 2 frets, half step, so 1 fret, whole step, half step, whole step. Okay? So I'll play it from root to root, just so you can kind of hear how it sounds. And then descending. Okay? So far so good? Does anybody have any questions? Doom Riffer, how you doing, man? Doom Reefer, how you doing? So I'll play it one more time. So now that we got the formula, we can start with any note as the root note and use the formula to figure out the notes in that scale. So let's start with open A string. So we have the root, A. And to get the root, you just basically pick it. You just, hey, I want to start here, start on the A, and then just apply the formula. So it starts with open, and we go up whole step, half step, whole step. So now we're 5th fret, whole step, half step, whole step, and a whole step. Beauty with the single string is you can play it with one finger. As long as you have the formula in your head. Okay, so that was a little easier. That was an open string. So now let's start at C. This is going to be 3rd fret on the A string. And another great thing about this is you don't need to know notes. You don't need to read notes. All you need to know is that a whole step is 2 frets, half step is a single fret, and just know that formula and you're good to go. So starting on the 3rd fret, A string. If it's whole step, we go up 2 frets. Then we go up a half step. That's 1 fret. Then we go up a whole step. Another whole step. Another half step. Whole step. Last note, we're back at C. Descending. So far, so good? So, yeah, let me know in the comments if you got any questions too. This formula, we're just going to stick with the minor scale for today. But there's a formula for every scale you've ever heard of all the modes, major scales, all this stuff. And just like this, as long as you just use that formula, you can figure out the notes in the scale. So I remember learning these things in patterns. So minor scale. So these notes are still, the formula still applies to these notes. So if we start on the 5th fret, so we'll start on the 5th fret, and I'm going to use the single string technique to show you how we get to these other notes in the pattern. So if we start on the 5th fret, just go through the formula. So it's a whole step, then we go a half step. So far, so good. Then we go up a whole step. This note is the same as this note. So that pattern, the pattern that we get taught, most of the time is as opposed to this single string technique. So the notes in the pattern, we're just figuring out the kind of why we get the notes in the pattern using that single string technique. So far we know that we go up a whole step. From there, it's another whole step. this note is the same as this note. And then the next note in the formula is a half step up. 13th fret. Same as this one here, same as the 8th fret. So if you've ever learned those patterns, that's how we get these notes. And you can use the single string to figure it out. So now we just have two more. We go up a whole step, and we go up another whole step to the root. So these notes that we just did on the single string are the same exact notes as okay? So it's the way that the bass and guitar are tuned, and the how the frets are set up, that it can be really confusing why this note is the next note in the scale. Using that single string, you can hear it. So the next way is to know that the distance, that's a whole step. And kind of you can figure it out. So if the advantage of the single string is you can see it, as opposed to with learning these patterns, I just remember being just completely confused by it. So you can see it just laid out like the keyboard. So it's and you can just one note at a time, just follow the formula. So got a just quick question here. Is there any easy way to remember the formula? I don't know if there's an easy way, but it's just memorization. Just memorize. Whole half, whole half, whole. So it's just, after if you just, so a good, maybe try memorizing it and applying it to your bass at the same time. So you can just pick kind of a random fret or a random note, and then just try to memorize the formula and figure out the notes of the scale at the same time. So you can start here. The first one is the whole, then it's a half, whole half. You can kind of break them up into smaller sections too. So it's start with the root, and it's whole half. So you can kind of go root, whole half. Then it's up a whole step. And then it's essentially the same pattern. So it's, notice I'm using first finger, third finger, fourth finger. From there, go up a whole step, and we got that same first finger, third finger, fourth finger. Shift up 2 frets. So that's Now we're on the sixth note, and then we just have the last two. We're back at the root. Okay? And that's how I kind of memorize the pattern too in the position. Was just using the fingers. 1 3 4 1 3 4. Then it was. So Monstrati, I think it's easier to remember ear. Yeah, yes, that is a great point. So, so Monstrosity brings up the point of to memorize it by ear. Yeah, that is the ideal situation. So if you can hear it, if you know, like, and you can kind of, after practicing it for a while, you can get the sound of the scale kind of in your ear, and you'll, you know, like the first phase of it is you'll know when you play a wrong note. So the ideal situation is you can hear the scale, or at least, you know, one note at a time as you play it. Yeah, that by ear, I don't know, I feel is always the best, because you know, when writing riffs especially, we want to be able to play kind of what we hear in our head. And if you have that sound of the scale in your head already, you can, you know, get it from your, you know, your mind's ear to your instrument way faster, and you know, you can play what you hear. Yeah, the ear thing is yeah, the ideal. So one thing about the scales and is they each have a unique sound. The minor scale is, you know, usually described as sad, but I don't know, I think of it as more of an introspective kind of a scale, and really used a lot of doom, a lot of stoner, a lot of just, you know, any you know, form of rock is going to have a lot of minor. So like you can, the mood is a really kind of important aspect of it. It's what distinguishes each scale from the other. And the formula kind of was determined. They came up with this. I think it's in Plato's Republic is where we get the formulas for the actual formulas for the scale. And he described, you know, minor as a thoughtful scale, as opposed to a major scale, which is kind of happy. So minor is a great scale to start with for writing doom, rock, stoner, psych, anything with a guitar. So let's try coming up with a riff. So I have a drum loop, which there should be a link in the description, and let's see what happens. And I'll put on the drum loop and just use the notes on this open E minor scale, just to use as a framework for coming up with a riff. So let's see what happens. Can you hear this one? Can you guys hear the drum? The drum loop? Awesome. Thanks. Thank you, Coleman. Thanks for showing up here too, man. This is awesome. And thank you there, Abscheid, they get token stinkers. And Destroyer. Alright. Can you hear the bass? So just using the open 2-3. There's little spots that sound extra sweet. There's 3 and 5. And I like to sound it. That was pretty much just walking right down the line. so all of those kind of ideas were just coming off of that the formula. So let's try it on a different note. So you could, I mean, it's easy on the open strings. Let's try the open A. So let's try. One thing that really is cool is pick out little patterns. So let's go down 3. Then we'll go up 1, down 3, up 1, down 3. So it's gonna go. Down 3. So you can use little patterns to come up with, and little rhythmic things. So there are down 3 up 1 is awesome. There are a billion riffs to be found in there. So with this drum loop, like, here's a good way to kind of just practice without, just get the scale under your fingers, and to start hearing how it sounds, and to kind of get the sound in your ear, so you can start playing things by ear. So I'll throw on the loop, and we're just gonna one note at a time up the scale. Then back down. Song. You could do, to practice alternate kind of picking or finger style, you can do 4 notes on each. Or what was that, 3s? You could do, up 3, down 1, up 3. good way to get it, in your ear. Another good way to practice it is keep going back to the E string and just go up the scale, kind of one note at a time. So I'll show you how to do this. So you go. So it just kept going up the scale, just putting an open E in the middle. And then back. You can go backwards. Okay? And any kind of pattern in between. So I'll keep coming back to that open E's. I get lost in this drum group. So keeping coming back to the E, like the open E, it's fun because you're always kind of coming back to that root note, and you get to hear the notes in the scale like up against the root note. So you get to so you can hear that the interval, the distance between the two notes. So, and this is another great thing for training your ear as well. So just really get this sound in your ear. Singing it, humming it helps even more. Try the next one. This needs a little intonation. A little sharp. So the coming back to the root note is just an awesome way to really get that scale in your ear. Also, it's an easy way to start developing a riff. I mean, you just keep coming back to that. Coming back to that E, and it's gonna sound great. It's gonna sound great. Okay, so at first just get the formula, just memorize the formula, and just kind of get it in your ear, under your fingers. A good on the single scale or the single string scale, you can do like on this on the open string. A good kind of finger position is going to be open. First finger, second finger, then shift up to the 5th, first finger, 3rd finger, 4th finger, shift to the 10th fret, get the last 2, 1st finger, 3rd finger. Same on the way back down. Okay? Great way to learn this thing and to start shifting, getting used to playing. You know, a lot of the times when we play, we're playing this way, and so this is fun to kind of start using the whole neck. It's here. We might as well use it, right? Awesome. So, any questions? Please, fire away. Michael, how you doing, man? Yeah, playing over the drone is awesome. It's a great way to keep the root note in your ear, or you can do like a looper pedal, play over a looper. That's great too. Oh yeah. Yep. So if you're checking out the comments, Michael's referencing the modes. So the minor scale is actually one of these modes. It's called the Aeolian scale, or the Aeolian mode. So they're one and the same. They're exactly the same thing. Which we will get to later down the road. This is I remember, man, this coconut water is great, but it's got the pulp in there. Still great. Sorry for all the smacking and all the stuff. So let's see. So if you have any questions, please let me know. And then on this, and then we could let's fire away on anything you guys want to chat about. So to implement this and really integrate it into your playing, some fun things to do. Definitely that open. Keep coming back to that open string. The shift is key to overall command of your instrument. We want to start thinking both this way and this way. And the figuring out, if you know the patterns, that these notes are the same. It's just how the bass and guitar are tuned so that these notes duplicate, and they're the same exact thing. They're just right here. Okay? So the neck has just tons of patterns which you can memorize, which is I feel it's the biggest advantage of a guitar and bass. It's also the biggest disadvantage when you're learning, because it's easy to just get stuck in the pattern, and so and not kind of understanding it, where these notes come from, why are we playing in these patterns and all that. I just going from string to string can be a little confusing, and just laying it out, in a more linear way, you can visualize the whole step, half step thing, and really solidify it, and come to understand it. Even though this is a kind of a simple idea, it's still, I remember taking me, I had oh my God, like an epiphany moment, like, oh, that's it, and then, you know, I got it, and then to, you know, then to really get it, it still takes a little time. So it's just a kind of a different way to look at playing scales, and even the neck of the guitar, if you haven't, you know, moved this way, gone in the vertical way. And yeah, another good one is the sequences. So, you know, the down three, up one. You could do rhythmic sequences. You know, play 3 times. You know, 3 times in 1 time. You know, 4 times, 2 times. And a million. You can mix those patterns up. Whatever pops in your mind. That, I don't know. Especially on the open E. It's fun. There's a million riffs still yet to be discovered in that kind of open single string scale. Okay? Cool. So let's get into questions. Yeah, and please, any questions you have on any of this stuff or anything at all, let me know. We can, yeah, can definitely hang here for a little bit. Yeah, playing over the drone, playing relative minor. Oh yeah, raking. Yeah, these all of this stuff. I'm just reading Michael's comments here. This is all stuff that we will definitely get into. Pentatonics, I was thinking of doing next. Just kind of, that's a, man, great way to write riffs. Great way to write it. Let's see, sorry to go back to the same question. Root, whole, half. Whole, half, whole. Let's try it. Root. Whole. Half. Up a whole. What do you got next? Whole. So far so good. Half. Whole. Raven. Yeah, that's it. Nailed it, man. Yeah, monstrosity. I mean, it's, man, even guitarists that are just insanely good still can get stuck in the kind of playing the same thing over and over and over. And you know, that's cool if that's you know, if that's what you want to do. But there are many more options out there. It's just infinite options. Yeah, so this is a good one too, with the treat the octave as the new root. So once you get, if we run the scale from root open all the way to our, you know, this octave, this is the same note. This is the root. So we go root to root. It's just we're now an octave above. So we can now start the pattern here and just repeat the pattern. Ran out of strings. But yeah, you could totally do that. Heck yeah. Root 2 times, third 1 time. So one thing you might see when learning the scales is to, just to, you'll see them written if you look at it, like any kind of theory books or whatever. They're gonna refer to the notes of a scale as scale degrees. So all that is they're just putting a number on each note of the scale. So root there is usually called root, or T for tonic. But then they have first, second, third, fourth, scale degrees. So 1, they'll be the root, and then it's basically just the second note of the scale is called the second scale degree. Third notes, third scale degree, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and we're back to the 1. Instead of going to 8, we refer to it because it's the root as the 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay. Hence the name, the octave, the octagon. So if you ever see that scale degrees, I'm going up to the third, going, this is kind of what they're talking about. So if you see, if you're playing music and you see a chord progression and they're like, oh, it's a 1, 4, 5 chord progression, that means we play the first note, the fourth note, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the fifth note, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just count up. Right here. So it's a 1, 5, 1 chord progression. A lot of blues will be in that. So that's 1, 4, 5. That's pretty much all they mean. That's where all that kind of starts, where it all comes from. A lot of doom and stuff is in kind of that 1. 1, 4, 5, kind of that bluesy sound too. Oh yeah, I'd love to get some sheets. Clint, how you doing, man? The test. When's the test? Oh man, test is tonight after a couple beers when you start practicing, dude. So let's hear some riffs. Let's get some riffing. On guitar, it's the corresponding chords, right? Yes, that's exactly right. So the like the 1, 4, 5 thing that we just did here, this is the root note of the chord, whatever they call it. So if it's a E chord, the root note is an E. C chord's a C, A chord's an A. So instead of an open note, playing E chord. Yes. Yep. That's it. That's it. You play an E chord. So if we're in E, today we were just working on E minor. So if you're in E, you would play we're in E minor, so you would play an E minor chord. Your pick. They're all over the place. You could even just play a power chord. Yeah. That's a great place to start. There's a lot of other options, but yes, that is the perfect place to start. Yeah. Every day listen to Model Lord. Sweet. So in the description there's that kind of guide. I posted on Instagram too. But if you download the guide, there are the formulas in there. Mm, little more info to kind of read over if you wanted to practice at home and kind of start start to master this stuff. And really, like, I hope in the as a overall kind of intention behind this live stream and every live is to just take one thing and to just simplify it as much as possible. So we took this idea of this scale. Excuse me. Been yapping too long. It's starting to dry out my throat. So we take this thing, this concept, this idea of a scale, and I remember first learning it and thinking it was like this magical, ethereal thing that you had to be, academic, only the very few greatest musicians could possibly understand all this stuff. And that's kind of how what I felt kind of about theory in general is that it's just this super complex thing. But if we just what I came to find out is once I stopped thinking that it's this highfalutin thing and just broke it down to what it actually is. It's all this stuff is extremely simple. Each individual thing is like in the music theory is just they use different words and they use terminologies and things like that, but each idea in itself is always just way simpler than what I had thought first, when I first learned what a scale is. And it's not until just breaking it down, that I finally understood it, and it's actually what I found in a lot of theory is learning it required more of letting go of what I thought it was, and the more I did that, the more you could just see what it actually is. So I thought it was magic, and I thought it was unattainable, and I thought it was all this stuff, and I would overcomplicate it, looking at notes and frets and all this, patterns and all this stuff. And it wasn't until I just, this single string thing, it's just a formula, and it's just a way to organize notes that sound cool. And that's it. It's just a formula. You can use it. You can never use it. It doesn't matter. It's just there. And that's all it is notes arranged in a certain way. So, with the minor scale, if you just memorize the formula, you got it. That's you understand now what a minor scale is. It from there, we can now do other things that at first are gonna, same thing, seem super complicated, seem, what are you talking about? And it's just all simple things. Um, the there are a lot of simple things, but there each of them are extremely simple. And really, there's, I don't know, maybe ten overall concepts that once you get, you you don't need anything else. You're good to go. So yeah, the intention behind this is hopefully just just to remember it's it's a very, if it gets to a point where you're like, this is so complicated, I don't get it, it's just, take a break and come back, because it's not, it's it's most likely you're just like getting in your own way. And I did the same thing. It was just thinking, it was actually removing more the clearer it got. It's, thinking, oh, it's unattainable, you'd have to be a genius, you have to be a good chess master or something to understand. Oh, only 5 people in the world could understand. It's not that at all. It's just a formula. That's all a scale is. Boom, boom, it's whole half. That's it. And if you use a single scale, you can see it. You can see the steps where it gets a little bit lost when we cross strings. Okay? Oh, Raven, that's you get it. You got it. It is too easy. It's so easy that we overcomplicate it. What do you think about chord? I love chords on bass. Yes, we need more chords on bass. Man, yeah, Robbie. Power chords, you can never go wrong. They sound huge. With bass, we run the risk of our bass line sounding muddy, or it can be too much for the song, especially with maybe 2 guitars going on. Chords can get a little muddy on bass, but that doesn't mean you can't play them. They're just like using the minor scale and all this stuff. There are no rules. These are just suggested things that sound cool to to a ton of people. But dude, you do whatever you want. If a chord sounds cool to you, go for it. And all the chord is you're just playing more than 1 note at a time. So you can just play 2 notes. Power chord. Anything minor, third's great. Yeah, anytime you play just more than 1 note at a time, yeah, that's going to be a chord, and you can totally do it. It just, on bass, I think a lot of people shy away from it because it can get a little muddy in a song, especially in a recording. It can sound, if someone's singing, it can cover up the singing a little too much. But man, I don't know. I in my band, I play chords all the time. We're a power trio, so I get a little more leeway. But dude, all the time, especially power chords. Every skill goes runs. Power chords. Yeah. Dinosaur Jr. There, yeah, tons of chords. Gosh, They're so good. Just unique, original, just unlike anything. The terms of words. Yes, Robbie, the terms. This is the one of my huge hangups with all this theory junk, is that they use these words. Unfortunately, like, man, it's and they use what's like using words that like specific words for things. Fine, but what's confusing is they'll use the same word for multiple meanings, and that is what gets confusing. Yeah, and yeah. I wish there was different terms sometimes, but I don't know, man. Some of them are still confusing to me, and I've been using them for for a long time now. But yeah, any other words, man, just put it in the comments which you don't know, what you don't understand, because yeah, it took me a long time too, man, to memorize all these things. How do you know? Okay, Raphael, how you? Awesome, man, great question. How do I know when to use a scale and in what key? Great question. So if you're writing an original riff, you can use whichever scale and whichever key you want. Okay? If you're learning a song, you need to first find the root note. Okay? And the root note is, you can think of it as the home note, and it's the note where if you're playing a scale, all the notes want to go back, want to go home. So it's also the note that sounds, if you're listening to a song, and if you just go and play every note, you're gonna get to a note that sounds really good, and it's just gonna sound like home. And when you get to that note, odds are that that's going to be the key that the song is in, whatever it may be. And just like I was saying, the notes in the scale, they want to return home. This is the same with chord progressions and riffs and songs in general. They generally want to get back to that root, or home key. So if you find the note that the song or riff or whatever keeps going back to, odds are that's the root, and you can do that, just one note at a time, just till you can land on it. I mean, I'll still do that. It gets easier with practice, but yeah, you just not that. It's a little higher, not quite. That's it. Then from there, you need to know which scale to use. This is where the mood and the overall sound of a scale really comes into play. So if it sounds, a little bit darker, odds are it's a minor. So you could try this minor scale. And you'll know it's right if, all the notes sound pretty good. Pretty good. If you're looking at a piece, like if you're looking at a tab or something, and they have a chord progression, if they keep coming back to a minor chord, that's another way you could see that it's most likely a minor scale. That is there's schmancy ways to do this too, but for today, that's how you do it. Just find the note, and then try that. Once you find the note, try applying the formula, the minor scale, and if it sounds cool, it's really that's probably all there is to it. It's a minor. You got it. You got a minor scale. let's see. Practicing scales of help. Jasmine, how are you doing? Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Practicing scales has helped train my ears to know the difference. Yes. Oh yeah, that's the ultimate right there. Is when you practice these scales with uh, intention, your ear starts to develop, and you can just, like, going back to Raphael's question, you can kind of hear the mood and feel the mood, and then the scales, you can kind of, oh, it's a darker one. All right, I know this scale is a little darker. I know this scale could be, three or four different possibilities. Try them out, and you'll eventually figure it out. But yeah, it less thinking and more listening and feeling. That is where we all want to be. Starting out it takes more thinking, but it just smooths out. And if you find yourself thinking too hard, like, take a break, or just remember that it's just a formula. It just, that's all it is. Yeah, Ace of Spades got some power chords. Oh, good. Glad we cleared it up. Yes. Oh, JF66. How you doing? Awesome. So, yeah, anybody else? Any questions? If not, I'm gonna head out. I am thirsty, man. Wow. So, God, thank you so much, everybody, for showing up. This is awesome. If Aces, Robbie, was this a song request? Ace of Spades. I'd have to look it. I'd have to look it up. As soon as I learn a song, this is a problem. So, as soon as I learn a song, I forget it, and it's gone. So, like, all these, there are a few songs I remember, you know, but man, as soon as I learn, some of these Ohm songs, or even what was the last one, the Electric Wizard song, Funeralopolis, it's gone. Like, I play it all week, and then it just, I don't know what happens, but it it disappears. So yeah, I would gladly run through some Ace of Spades, but which I've learned in the past, but yeah, I can't remember how it goes. May have been already asked, but what bass? Oh, the bass. This is a PRS. It's called a Kestrel. So, yeah, I think it's Korea, made in Korea. I got it right when they were released. Man, I got it because I teach, and so it's extremely versatile. So it can handle rock tone, doom stuff. It can, anything, any kind of sound. It's really versatile. It plays great, and I think, what was it? Maybe $800. I mean, it's for $800, man. It's solid. Let's see. Any tips for using scales to improvise? Yes. So, any of the, if it's the open string stuff, keep going back to the root is a good kind of tip to improvise. Try skipping around notes. So when you play them all in a row, it sounds like a scale, even if you're we want to avoid sounding like a scale. So skip around notes. So I just skipped. Skipping around. It spices it up. So yeah. Other than that, find little you can find little patterns that sound cool. You know, just if yeah, for I'm guessing improvising on a guitar, yeah, man, try to not use skip around in the scale. Start at the first note, go to the sixth note, third note, all this stuff. Try not to play too many notes in the scale in a row. Yeah. Argy Fedge. What gauge strings do I use for C standard? I use on C standard. I use these Power Slinkies, 55 to 110. You could. I've used thicker, and they're a little less a thicker gauge. I've used thicker gauge, and they're less, floppy. These still are, the Power Slinkies handle it. They're slightly looser than what I would like, but the thicker gauges, even though it increases the tension a little bit, man, I don't know. I get about 20 minutes of playing on there, and my fingers are just tore up. So I'd rather, play a little, I guess, looser string and be able to play longer. They both, as far as like tone and stuff goes, I kind of actually prefer the thinner scale or the thinner gauge, because it gets a little more punch. So like your initial attack, as you first hit, strike the note, that's the attack or the punch. And so it can get a little bit lost in those thicker gauges, and it's on bass especially, that it just like it kind of goes woof, as opposed to dong. I don't, that's obviously the technical term for it, but that's kind of how it sounds. It's more of like a woof, as opposed to you don't get that kind of rhythmic attack. Oh, active or passive pickups. I'll take passive pickups all day, every day. Active pickups are awesome. They're way louder, and they have a lot of advantages. But I way prefer passive. They have more dynamic range, so you can play soft and you can play hard, and there's gonna be you'll be able to hear the difference. On active, it kind of all sounds loud all the time, which is awesome if that's what you're into. But and they're great for all the thumb stuff, which I don't know, I don't usually play. I never play this unless somebody wants to learn it. But yeah, I find active, and I like to use a pick sometimes too with bass, and it just, I don't know, it allows for more dynamic control, even though it's a little quieter than than active pickups. I much prefer passive pickups. That's just my preference. Ooh, P bass or jazz for Doom? Well, I like them P basses, man. I like them both, but yeah, I like P basses. You can try both. It's they're each every piece of gear is going to work better or worse for each person. So there might be a bass that everybody in the world swears is the best bass, a Rickenbacker or something, and maybe you pick it up and it's not happening. That's fine. Maybe that's just the way it goes. It's just not for how you play, right? So there's pedals, there's everything that man. Personally, I want a Fender Telecaster really bad, and every time I go into a store, into a shop or whatever, I play them and I want to buy one so bad, but they don't feel right. So I haven't got one, and I've wanted one for a very long time. So it's that's just the way it goes. It's until it's a great guitar, classic guitar. I want it, but I know I'm not going to play it because it doesn't feel right. Favorite tunings? I like D standard. D standard is my favorite. It's the kind of best of both worlds. You still get a lot of attack. It's still lower. You get a little low, little more low end and stuff. But C, I mean, I love playing in C. But yeah, just I don't know. D standard if I had to pick a favorite. And my all-time favorite fuzz pedal. Wow. Man, that is tough. I'll tell you what my favorite pedal right now is. It's a Fuzzlord Drone Master. Yeah. Wow, I love this pedal. I love it. It gets fuzzy. It gets all this stuff. The thing that I actually use it the most for is I use it on my clean tone, and so I'll turn the gain, man, if just not even to 1, so I'll turn the gain, which increases the volume or the distortion, sorry, or the fuzz or whatever. So I'll just barely touch it and just use the pedal as a tone for my clean tone, and it just, man, it's got this, it just warms it up so sweet. It sounds so good. I love that pedal. Yeah. At the same time, you can crank the gain and it's gnarly. Yeah. Killer pedal. Yep. Yeah, pedals. We're all obsessed. We're all obsessed with the pedals. The last pedal I got, I used it in the Electric Wizard one, this power driver. And I'm gonna make a pedal demo, a more in deep dive pedal demo into this pedal, because I think it was only made for 1 year, 1996, and it's made to sound like a Sun Model T. And in 1996, nobody wanted that sound, so the pedal flopped. And so they only made it for a year. And an old bandmate of mine, he's in Minneapolis, turned me onto this thing, and he's used it forever. And he did a side by sides with a bunch of Model T sounding pedals, and he swore he couldn't hear the difference. And so he said, "Dude, you got to get one of these pedals." And I scored that one. It was the only one for sale in the U.S. So I don't know. It may be one of these undiscovered gems, but yeah, I'm gonna do a deeper dive and try to find the history and all that stuff. That's cool, man. Yeah. Destroyer. Yeah. No. I'm hopefully these. Just because I play. In the videos I'll play bass or whatever. It's my hope that they carry over to not only guitar but to anybody who's into this style of music. Because there's a bassist in every band, and it's an essential, underappreciated part of every band. So it's good to get that the perspective from a bassist, I feel. So yeah, hope I'm making these videos with bass, but with the intention that everybody can kind of hopefully get into it. Favorite basses? Oh man, the bet. I don't know the model number, but there's a vintage guitar shop right around the corner from where I live here in Portland. Oh man, and they had this. It was an Ampeg. I don't know. I forget the model number, but it looked like one of these electric guitar company. It's made out of acrylic, clear. Dude, this bass was just amazing. It was made in the 70s. Whatever that one is, that's my favorite. That's the favorite bass I've ever played. A bass that keeps popping up that I really want to try is one of those Dunnable basses. Man, those look killer. Those look killer. I haven't come across one, but yeah, man, I'm dying to play one of those. Any recommendations for songs that have killer bass lines? Oh, well, let's see. Just, yeah, every Sabbath song. Just learn every Sabbath song. It's everything you ever need to know is there. He does it all. He does it all, and he does it in a thoughtful, just tasty way. He does things that are surprising. He does things that, while learning parts, I always thought he was doing something else, and he when the guitar goes down, he'll go up. Very, very thoughtful. Just Geezer Butler, yeah. Just learn every Sabbath song. Other than that, man, every any Al song, any Cisneros song. Man, every time I play a Kai song, I love this dude more and more. I love Scott Reeder more and more. He's an animal, just amazing. And I'll try. I have. I'm gonna try to get some more of those Kaias and sleep videos and Om stuff out there. It just takes a long time. It takes a long time to figure out because there's no tabs out there. So I'm doing like I was saying, just trying to find roots, trying to find notes. Just takes a long time. Not a lot of yeah. The jazz bass body is pretty slick. It's awesome. What do you think about multi effects pedals? I think okay. So as far as multi effects pedals go, I I love them. I for in like practice in a bedroom. You're just for guitar practice. Yeah, you can use them if it's just you in an amp. They're incredible. I wouldn't use them, in a live situation. Uh, but yeah, no, I overall, I mean, I love them. Yeah, I got a Zoom thing here that I use all the time. Zoom multi effects, and I really like the like amplitude and amp mods and stuff. Kind of the same thing, just on a computer. But it works great on bass, not guitar. That boss pedal you have. Yeah, maybe it just works on bass. I still gotta. I'm gonna give it the run through on guitar. See what happens. Ooh, Dan Armstrong bass. Is that what it's called? That PV? Oh yeah, fire. Okay, so Fireface. I've gotten requests for this before. I'm gonna definitely do that. Definitely gonna do that. Wofat. Yeah, Acid. Wofat's coming up sooner. Acid King coming. Yeah, it's yeah, man. I would. It's figuring out the tabs that takes probably the longest, and writing them out and doing all that. So yeah, as soon as I just as fast as I can figure them out, I'll put out these videos for sure. Awesome. Right now I'm working on Bima's theme, Om. So can't wait. It's one of the less complex of the Om stuff. It kind of has a few main things that repeat a bunch, but it's it's still Om and it sounds awesome. It is the amp. Okay, Dan Armstrong. Sweet man, thank you. Yeah, just epic. It's heavy. Man, I love that thing. Awesome. Cool. Well, this was great. Thank you everybody for showing up. This has been awesome. This has been a lot of fun. I'll try to do these every couple weeks. Been working out pretty good. Jasmine, yeah, you are most welcome. Yeah, I'll get the recording up in a few hours. I'm this little guy's hungry, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go get some food. Cool, awesome, Neo. Yeah, thanks for showing up. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, hope this was helpful. Hit me up with any questions. Um, yeah, awesome. Hope you have a great weekend.